Talk Radio, the world as we see it.
Coming to you from WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station.
Listen to us this and every Saturday at 4 to 5 p.m. U.S. Central, and this and every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. U.S. Central.
Ndewono. I am Mazi KK.
Good afternoon and welcome to this episode of Straight Talk Radio, coming to you on WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station. Thank you and welcome to our program. With me in the studio today is
Mazi KK Odeloga.
I am Mazi Okeo Kachukwu. Our other co-host will join us shortly. Today we would like to continue our conversation with you, looking at everything Africa, like we have been telling you and will continue to remind you. On Tuesdays, our program is looking at the global world and the news and happenings around the world. And on Saturdays, we talk news around Africa and we'll give you an opinion from an Igbo perspective. This program is sponsored by Igbo American Heritage Foundation, and our aim is to bring you news and current affairs around the world from an Igbo perspective. We would discuss it as three Igbo men would. We will give you our take on it. We will give you our slant based on Igbo wisdom and Igbo worldview. What we are expecting and hoping is that you, our guests, will also be able to join us in this conversation. You could do that by calling us at 773-942-7167. Or you could join us on Facebook Live and leave your comments on the WGHC 98.3 FM page, where we will be also monitoring and answering you as much as we could. So today we have some news for you from around Africa. Mazio Delega, do you have any, or you want me to just go for it?
You can go for it.
All right. So I always talk about our neighbors, the Cameroonians, especially with the things going on there. And I try to shine a light there because I think if we could solve it early, then everybody gets to enjoy the peace. So the Cameroonian government is blocking humanitarian aid. At least that is the charge by the Catholic Church, charging that the Cameroonians are blocking. The Cameroonian government has banned, not only have they banned the Catholic Church from extending humanitarian to people, but they are also making efforts to block those aids from getting to the people in the southern part of the Anglo Cameroonians, the Anglophone, is that what we call them? Cameroonians?
I don't know what you call them.
Yes.
But they are human beings.
Yes.
And this conversation, I think, is quite relevant. And for some of us who survived Biafra, it's almost like deja vu. You see, it's interesting that during the 1966, 67, 70 conflict,
70, right.
the Nigerian Biafra War,
Yes.
some of the Easterners ran into Cameroon.
Yes.
Before there was a total blockade of that whole border.
Yes.
And so, of course, the Biya government is taking a playbook from the Yakubu Gowon administration
Yes.
that I can starve them, I can stop humanitarian aid to them, and see if they will capitulate.
Yeah.
So that was the same attitude that the Yakubu Gowon government had. Now, what should not be allowed to happen in the 21st century is what happened in the 20th century with the Igbo genocide during the Biafra War.
Using hunger and starvation.
As a weapon of war.
Yep.
And more importantly, allowing governments to do that, to perpetrate that on their citizenry. That's one. Two, neighboring governments keeping quiet.
Yes.
You see, because what was tragic with the Biafran experience was OAU then decided that it was an internal Nigerian problem.
Yes.
So which is almost like if the neighbors are hearing a woman who is being beaten by her husband.
It's like, it's a family problem.
It's a family problem.
It's domestic.
But you saw her run out of the house and he pulls her back. She ran out again with broken nose, screaming and yelling.
Oh, you're talking about two adults. How about the kid, right? If you see a man beating the kid mercilessly and you know it's not a fair fight.
Yes. And then you say, no, it's his father's,
it's family issue.
It's family issue.
Yes.
So now, Nigeria is the closest neighbor to Cameroon. Now
we know the role Nigeria has played so far. So when the Anglophone side, the so-called secessionists, decided it was too much and ran into Nigeria promptly arrested them and handed them back to so it's almost like
so
the example you were given, you see a family where it seems like either the husband or the wife is mistreating the other and the other one ran out and ran into your house. You promptly took her all the way back, opened the door and say, hey, take your wife back and close the door behind.
That's right. And it's so what am I saying?
Yes.
The world cannot say
we shouldn't keep quiet.
That they had not heard.
Right.
France cannot say that they've not heard that their client, beer, is beating up people within their geographic space.
Right.
Now,
and not only is he beating them up, but he's cutting off the people that are supplying aid.
Now, what would the Catholic Church do? Supply them with what? Bible, chaplet,
maybe they'll
water,
hit somebody over the head with the Bible.
Right? Why is the Catholic Church so threatening?
Being banned.
Because obviously, with what is going on within that enclave, there's a disruption of food production.
Yes.
Because wherever there is conflict, there is disruption of food conflict.
Grenades don't make for a good tomato planting.
Now, secondly, the reason why the people are raising alarm that they really want to leave Cameroon and be on their own is that they feel they've not been fairly treated. And the government have not focused development and infrastructure into their own area.
Right.
Now, what does that mean? That means that right away, that area is already underdeveloped. So the means of production is down. There are economic hardship already. That's why they're saying we want to go on our own. I mean, I cannot make the argument for it, but that's part of their issue.
And even if there is no truth to it, I think that there are better ways to solve an uprising than to shell and bomb the people.
No, my point is that already they have at a place of lack.
Yes.
Now, the reason why the Catholic Church and humanitarian organizations are coming,
they can't help themselves,
is because there are children who need food. There are people, old men and women who need food. There are people who need health care. And traditionally, these are organizations that have come in to step in the gap,
right,
to provide services, social services that the government oftentimes is not able to provide.
And even during conflict may not be
even in normal times,
interested in providing.
Even in normal times.
Right.
They might not have efficient healthcare services being provided by
the government. Right.
So it's abhorrent, and everybody should condemn that. In fact, there should be a campaign to speak to the AU, ECOWAS, and of course United Nations. Now, let me say this: if the Biafran experience is anything to, if that is a template or an example, none of these organizations actually came to help. Now, why am I saying that?
Some did, eventually.
Yeah, but I mean, international institutions.
The Red Cross cut their teeth.
No. The Red Cross was banned by Nigeria. Right. That was part of this problem. Right. You see, in the Nigerian situation, Awolowo, Yakubu Gowon, and Nahoro told the Red Cross, International Red Cross, you stand in front. We want all humanitarian organizations to line behind you.
Right, you coordinate.
You have to coordinate all relief effort in the rebel area.
And then they banned them.
Then they said, no, Red Cross, you can't come in. So then everybody that was lined up behind the Red Cross
can't come in.
Couldn't come in. So they debated this. After a while, the churches are like, no, we're reading our Bible. God is telling us something different. So they said they moved away from the Red Cross, and they started making independent arrangements.
Right.
Now, that actually was the first time that private relief organizations organized such massive airlift to break a blockade. And that is kudos to charity, to Caritas, World Council of Churches, and the Presbyterian Church of Canada, and of course the Scandinavian countries. I'm just giving a shout out to those that helped us in Biafra. Now, so let the church not be silent.
Right.
I will continue.
What you're saying is, if they ban the Catholic Church, there are other churches that are not banned yet.
No. Even if they ban the Catholic churches, let's get humanitarian. Now, the good thing is that the world is different.
Yes.
Why I say the world is different is that after this Biafran experience,
yes,
which one of the doctors that came with the French Red Cross was Dr. Bernard Kouchner, who later became a foreign minister in France.
Yes.
But he spent his life advocating for those in disaster areas, and he and his friends who came through Biafra started the Doctors Without Borders. Of course,
yes,
you know
yes,
that.
yes.
But subsequently, as he found himself in government and in place of advocacy, he was one of the people that pressed United Nations to pass a resolution that allows the right to protect.
Right.
So the RTP
came from his efforts.
Based on his experience in Biafra.
So this is a perfect opportunity for France to honor their son and insert the RTP here.
That's right. First of all, they should call Bia
and
say,
advise him correctly.
Say, no, it's not advice, because they have not always advised him. They've always told him what to do.
We don't want them to continue to tell him. I will expect them to advise him.
No, advising is...
Make him an offer he can refuse.
No. Advising will assume that Bia has been acting independent, because if he's been acting independent of France...
Yes.
Cameroon would have been different. This situation would have been different.
You're saying France has a hand in this, and they should pull their hand.
I'm calling out France, yes, because I know that France is the hand that is moving the puppet.
So France, knowing that Kouchner did such a great job,
yeah,
and got RTP passed and actually cut his teeth in Biafra and walked around the blockade that existed, this is your chance to say, hey, you cannot dishonor our son by putting a situation in place for a country that France actually has a relationship, a primary relationship with.
Yes.
So this is the time for France to...
And the interesting thing is that...
pull back their bulldog.
So Cameroon was a trading post for Germany.
Yes.
Historically.
Yes. How did he get into France?
So when Germany lost the Second World War.
The spoils of war.
Then Britain and France got together
and
divided. So it's important that this story is
told.
the
history part. Yes.
So that people know what's going on.
So they divvied up the part, and there was an English-speaking part.
So that's why in one country, there's the western end, which is the immediate to the east of Nigerian borders.
Yes.
Was the English part. So that is why you have NCNC,
before they decided they were going back after referendum,
of Nigeria and
the
Cameroons. So the Cameroons was all part of the Eastern region.
Right. The English had that part.
The English had that part. So
after the referendum, after the first referendum in Nigeria where they wanted to go, and there was a referendum in Nigeria, they decided to...
No, they had a referendum in their area. In 1961,
yes,
after our independence.
Yes.
So they were there.
They were not ready for independence.
They were there with us for independence.
Yes. After independence.
Then after independence...
They were convinced that this is not what they wanted.
Some people convinced them that the Igbo... I need to say that word.
Yes.
I need to say it.
That the domineering Igbo people. You people don't just give it a rest. Yes.
You see, because again, I
will
always go back to this idea.
Yes.
That when people are lied to and told,
and you buy it,
that the Igbo would dominate you.
Yes.
You turn around and you find out it's those people that told you
there's a reason
that the Igbo are going to dominate you.
They are looking
are
to
the
dominate
ones
you.
that actually want to enslave you.
Yes.
Because the Igbo believes in and will always practice Obiabonya Abiabunia. It is not our lot.
Yes.
It's our goal always to improve anyone we have in contact with.
Any place we're in is where we live. Where you live is where you
So
sustain,
because we know that Nduazu, which is if I foul up the water
then
that we all live in,
then the fish
then we
die.
all the fish will die.
The fish understands that if the water lives, then the fish lives.
If the water is healthy, the fish will be healthy, and
Yes.
all marine products, animals, and organisms is healthy. So that is Igbo wisdom. So it is not in Igbo character.
Yes.
To
dominate.
To dominate. So, but we will continue, as far as I know, that in this program will continue to advocate on behalf of all those that are being oppressed.
Yes.
I don't want to. I mean, no matter your politics.
Yes.
There is no reason why Cameroon cannot sit down with some of her people
and work it out.
And work out any situation. And there is no reason for Buhari's government
to hand over
without any trying to actually play big brother. People Kologomba,
yes,
they run into your enclave. Koagamba,
yes,
Nibo.
Yes.
If a child is running from danger and runs into a place of refuge, which is an adult who is a stranger.
These were refugees by any definition.
That's right.
And if US and other countries start treating refugees the way that Nigeria treated them, the world will be a terrible place.
And so those were not people convicted in their law courts. Those were not people who were charged with a crime, but they were considered to be leaders of this opposition movement. Now, what I would have expected from the Buhari's government
is to figure out
send an emissary,
mediate what's going on.
But the point is that the leadership in Yaoundé has always been a loyal cooperative leadership with the Hausa Fulani oligarchy, in the sense that they had their cooperation despite the fact that France was sympathetic to the cause of Biafra. Yet Cameroon did not support us and did not open up her borders.
So this is usually the point where I insert my statement about about what states want.
Yes.
It is the interest of the state that's always protected. So we always think that it's permanent friendship. But France has its own state's interest that is protected. So whether you're Christian or non-Christian or Igbo or non-Igbo or African or non-African, France is always going to protect its interest. And currently, it seems like France thinks that their interest is best with Biya.
That's right.
So until that changes, we could call France from heaven to earth.
Yes. So, but I want to point out why the Nigerian politics, why they were sent back.
Yes.
Because they are supposed to be part of the rebels. Remember, what we owe to Yaoundé was that when we asked them to close their borders, so that Biafra cannot bring
arms or humanitarian aid or whatever it is,
medications through their borders.
They did so.
They did so. And then we promised them Bakassi, an oil-rich part.
They got Bakassi back.
Of oil-rich part of Nigeria.
Right. Next to Calabar.
So we gave it back to them.
Yes.
And so we need to continue to uphold that covenant and that relationship.
Yes.
But that is not fair. That is not what states do.
It's not humanitarian.
That's not what states do.
Yes.
When people run into, it's just like
when
Cameroon or Niger or that have some of the people in the northeast part of Nigeria that run into their communities to now start repatriating them back to us.
Right. We talked about that the last time. And actually for that one, we decided, or at least we came to the conclusion that we do not as much blame Cameroon, right? Cameroon has its own problems to deal with. The repatriating or the sending back of refugees right into Cameroon from the Maiduguri area The UN is decrying that, and I don't think it's a good thing to do, but we understand Cameroon is got issues. And we also called on the government of Nigeria to make sure that it fulfills its obligation to its citizens so that they are not refugees when there is no real, when there are places in Nigeria that these people could be taken care of within Nigeria. So they shouldn't be going to other countries when Nigeria could be able to take care of them.
If they run into
Cameroon it was nearest.
It was the nearest.
But it's incumbent on Nigeria to go there and pick them up and relocate them within their country.
Yes.
All right. So that's Cameroon. Another sad news. 4 miners have died in an earthquake that caused a cave-in a cave in southern Africa, a gold mine in South Africa. Earthquake caused a cave-in, and 4 miners have died, and a few are injured, and people are still being saved, being rescued, even I think up to the hour. And our prayers are with the people who have lost loved ones, and we keep in prayers all those who are still waiting for the rescue, and all those who are hurt, and those who are still trapped and unaccounted for. We'll keep praying for you. But one of the things that Monday morning quarterbacking is starting already too early before it's Monday. People are beginning to say, well, this mine has been cited for poor safety records and violations. I don't want to focus on that much more than why do we always do this when something happens, even before we know the facts, we are quick to find somebody to blame, even before we finish the rescue. What do you think?
Because it's always good to ask the question, is this preventable? I mean, everybody knows that underground mining is dangerous.
Yes.
So the question that people ask, did we plan?
Did we make all the necessary, precautions, knowing what the danger was?
First of all, the question, did we know the earthquake is coming? Some people, we would love to.
Right, but the technology hasn't gotten there, at least as far as I know.
But two, if those places are prone to seismic activity, the question is, did we make necessary plans for our mines to be able to sustain a possible
up to code
shifting of the earth?
Yes.
So those are questions that safety professionals will ask, those who are involved in human rights will ask, the community will ask, those whose loved ones are trapped there will ask, because the question did you make arrangements for alternative ways to go find out where they are and how we can get them out? But it's all, we hope and pray that
everybody
that they survive. Yes,
we'll keep praying for them. Then one more bit of news that will get us into the topic today, which is that 4 pharmaceutical companies have been raided in Nigeria, and this followed an investigation by the BBC into their role in providing cough syrup containing codeine that has been a source of addiction for some of the northern teens in Kano area of Nigeria. So I don't know if people have been following the news about this, but it seems like there's an epidemic of codeine addiction in Kano State and some of the related parts of Kano State, where it seems like young kids have discovered that sweet tasting and flavored cough syrup also happens to have an effect, a drug, an inducement kind of effect.
It's not inducing. Codeine is an opiate.
It's an opiate, right?
Which has euphoric. It has some euphoric side effects,
psychedelic,
and so
drug kind of effects.
It's addicting too.
Yes.
But taken in the right amount, it will solve the problems that it's supposed to solve, and it will not be harmful. Like every let me just say this:
yes,
every medication is a potential poison,
too much of anything
that is why
yes,
a government like Nigeria does regulate substances within her boundaries. So the question is, what failed in the regulation process? Because we can look at the children that are doing, the young and the young people, and we can look at that. But the first question you ask yourself is It's not closing the pharmacies, but to ask the question, what did we have in place as regulations
and did they work?
That should have been our first line of defense.
Right.
So in the United States and in most communities around the world where people think seriously of these things, those can only be obtained by prescription, which means they're not over the counter. They have to be dispensed by a pharmacist. Now, in Nigeria, that is not
yes. So I was going to. So when was the last? Well, the last time I traveled to Nigeria, even a 6-year-old could walk up to the counter of a legitimate pharmacy. I'm not talking about chemists, which in Nigeria I say it's almost like alchemy plus a pharmacy.
No, those are regulated for OTCs, over the counter.
Over the counter. But in Nigeria, I'm saying a 6-year-old
yes
could walk into a pharmacy, a legitimate pharmacy in Nigeria, and ask without and with a note, whether it's prescription from a doctor or something or not,
or from his mom,
and say, hey, could you give me these drugs that he can spell? And somebody will reach up in the high part of the shelf and pick it up, and as long as he's going to pay, he's going to give him the medication.
That's right.
So if there is any regulatory body that's supposed to regulate these things, if there is anybody that's supposed to police these things, I have never seen them. It's been a surprise to me to watch those kind of transactions, because I'm thinking, this has always happened. I'm just noticing this.
No. The point is, okay, that is one aspect of it.
Yes.
The other aspect I'm sure you've also seen is somebody walks up and says, look, I think I have malaria.
Yes, could you give me something for malaria?
That's right. And
the chemist becomes,
and
I'm saying chemist because a lot of them are not.
No, the pharmacist.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about the pharmacist.
Okay.
Who dispense it, or one of the pharmacy assistants or technicians,
who will take care
or one of the sales girls
who will take care of it,
that have read some of the leaflets of the medications there.
Everybody's
so
a pharmacist.
Again, the pharmacy profession has to take back their space.
It's been watered down, and if you
it's ethics. They also know they should, because they're trained.
Yes.
And they're some of the best people, best trained pharmacists. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
and they're professionals.
Yes.
Take back your space. So when that young boy comes up, how are you going to give him syrup with Benelin with codeine? Why?
Right.
Why will you give him an antibiotic?
And why would anybody in your shop be doing that? Because the reputation that is...
No, I'm just saying that common sense should say that, where is your mom?
Yes.
Where's your dad?
Yes.
Where is the adult?
Yes.
So again, those are not things that government should get into. But the pharmacy
industry,
the pharmaceutical association,
right,
as a profession, this is not ethical. Therefore, that's one of the things that they themselves will self-regulate.
Yes.
Because you see, some things government doesn't have to get involved with. Some by professional ethics.
Do pharmacists take the Hippocratic Oath?
No, they have their own. They have their own body of ethics. You see, for every profession, there's a body of ethics that governs their code of conduct. That's why they're a profession. Otherwise, a passenger.
Yes.
So they should be the ones first who insist that when people come up, this is who. Okay. You make sure that there's an adult who can be given the instruction, because it's also part of the role of the pharmacist to give
advise,
instruction to the patient about how to take the medication and take their questions about interactions and maybe potential allergies.
Yes.
So it's not just giving them the medication. The pharmacist,
it's not just a sales position.
That's right. It's not a sales position. He's he's dispensing.
Yes.
He's not selling.
Yes.
You see, those are two different things. In Alaba, they will sell.
Yes.
And a log. But if you go to
yes.
But when you go to a pharmacist or dispense a
yes.
And that is where the pharmacist can look at the prescription and actually call the doctor and say, this is maybe, I'm not understanding this. Maybe this is too much for this child.
Right. Or is this supposed to be for this child? Or where is your mother?
Or this might not be giving this medication and this medication that I know that this man is taking. This will be an interaction. This will not be dangerous. Maybe we need to reduce it to a lower dose.
Yes.
We're profession.
Yes.
But you see, everything is not going to be resting on the back of the government to regulate. We should start.
But I'm not ready to let the government off the hook. One, because of the action they took, which is the ban. I understand. So I'll go back. I'll get away from this drug thing for a while.
No. But
in Onitsha,
no.
A 5-story building in Onitsha crumbled because the foundation wasn't well done. Before they could finish speaking about that, another 4-story one crumbled. Do you know what the government of the then governor of Anambra State did? Banned for any building above 3 stories. I'm thinking, what kind of nonsense is this?
No, because you see, again, I like what you said.
Yes.
Banned.
You can't build anything above 3 stories.
So that's why I keep saying.
Yes.
One of the things that people within the Nigerian space must examine.
Yes.
The kind of infrastructure and ethics and the values and principles of our government.
Yes.
It all has been militarized. Our language is military language. Our disposition is military.
Yes.
Our conduct and behavior, even those that have not
tyrannical,
that have not seen Barack.
Yes. Everybody is drunk with power.
Because of the class of 66 have ruled Nigeria the longest. So from 66 till now, you have men who were usually, the soldier go, soldier come.
So the example, the kites that the blacksmiths have been seeing have just a different kind of tail.
That's right.
Yeah, so you've been making your instruments that way.
That's right. So everything that we formed is, so that is the mindset. So for example, in a more democratic environment.
Yes.
And I use that word carefully.
Yes.
In a more democratic environment.
More.
If there is this issue of there are pharmacies that are abusing their power, selling drugs illegally or distributing controlled medication, then you go back to regulation. Then you have bodies that do all you need to do is call in the National Association of Pharmacy, National Association for the Pharmacists, their national professional body or their licensing body, and just a little letter. If you as a pharmacist is found to be dispensing this medication without a prescription,
there should be a body that actually flags the violation.
You lose your license.
Flag the violation and start some litigation.
No, you lose your license.
Yes.
That's the power government has to regulate.
Yes.
That is for the pharmacies. If you're a pharmaceutical company, you rewrite, it's the same. You lose your license to produce that product. Then you look at how do you do controlled substance dispensing regulation. You look at that. So it's not banning, is a soldier attitude. There are people who
that does. But
and then it drives it on the ground.
It drives it on the ground, and the same thing continues. And now you have more criminals because a lot of people now you've made it more expensive. For one, and you made it more desirable because it's tough and people still need it. Even the people who genuinely need it will not get it. The people who need it who think they need it but are addicted will get it as easy as possible. But now they will steal because they'll need more money to get it, and then it will create an industry that is underground that is and those people become criminals.
Plus official corruption. Now there are people who will be roaming around,
taking whatever stock is left from the pharmacy and then selling it to the smugglers.
And then a settlement.
Yes. So the police will get their cut.
So now
the police will become enablers in the process.
So all the inspectors and NAFDAC, everybody will jump out
and make more money.
I was watching a program.
Yes.
By the DG is one of the television stations in Nigeria. So the DG of NAFDAC was asked the question,
Director General,
why is it that your agency will request 50 cartons of a particular any item that they want to test?
Aha.
Does it take
it take 50 cartons?
So if you're selling Benylin,
yes,
with codeine,
yes,
and they want to test it to make sure it's of the quality,
they're
not asking you to just please bring us,
give us enough for a test. We need about 10 cc's.
10 bottles, one from different batches.
It's 50 cartons of
each. They say 50 cartons of each. So the manufacturers are like, if I give you 250 cartons, that's almost my inventory.
That's everything I got. What are you going to do with
it? So
what was his answer?
So the lady, in fairness, has said, we're looking into it to see how we can solve that problem. But I'm just trying to say, official corruption
is still alive.
So,
well, you've been listening to WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station, and you're listening to Straight Talk Radio. We've been talking about news from Africa, and we are now discussing the codeine problem in the northern part of Nigeria, and we are walking through what that really is. We've been talking about the government and the ban and the Society for the Pharmaceutical Industries and how they should take back their profession. And while we were doing that, our other co-host walked in, Mazi Obasi.
No.
So I will continue on my line of questions. So we've been talking about this epidemic in the north, and the codeine problem, and so where we've arrived to is the ban by the Nigerian government.
Yes.
And what does that mean? So we talked about how that means that people who genuinely need that, the prescribed version of that, will not get it, and now is driving the sale of that underground. Any thoughts?
Well, I think let's start from the top. The pharmaceutical industry is not regulated in Nigeria.
Yes.
So,
well, somebody may say, "What do you mean? We have NAFDAC."
Yes, NAFDAC
NAFDAC gives numbers.
Yes, but if you walk into any drugstore, virtually anywhere in the country, you can get anything you want.
As long as they have it.
Yes, from chemotherapeutic drugs down to strong narcotics. In fact, there was a physician in Lagos that made the point that a patient of his came in and asked for tramadol, the medication tramadol, which is one of these opiates.
Yes.
And so he said, okay, where is your pain? Depending on how bad the pain is, I could give you a 50 milligram or a 100 milligram tablet. And the patient said, no, I am looking for the 525 milligram tablet.
Oh, you don't have enough.
That is something that is not even in the drug formulary.
Yes.
But it is present somewhere. It is being sold on the streets of Nigeria. So I think that's where you start. There is no regulation.
Okay, so yes. Regulation is probably going to take a while, and
yes.
The understanding and the setup is going to take a while. What should the government do in the meantime with this epidemic? If you were advising the government, and
well, I'll tell you what they should not do is to go and blame the wrong people. Because I think, as with most things, when there's a problem,
yes.
we look for a scapegoat.
Yes,
and it does not really matter. It's like, if I can use the example here in the United States, you catch a black man and hang him, that solves all your problems.
Yes. Yes.
So as of right now, in fact, if you look at the BBC
the investigation that's where I started.
They were very keen to name one pharmacy.
Yes, they said there were 4, but one was named.
Yes. Well, the reality is that the predominance of those drugs are being sold in the not
black market.
Yes, quote unquote black market, because I don't even know if you can really call it black market.
Well,
it's out there for everybody to go and buy.
I thought you were going in a different direction.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say, since we're all black in Africa, you might as well just call it a market, right? So, but
I have some of my friends who are Ndiochao.
Yes.
That Andibo at the same time. Yes.
Albinos.
Yeah.
But yes, so it's being sold out there in the unregulated market.
Yes.
By non-pharmaceuticals. They're being sold like any other goods.
Like any other, like every other over-the-counter drug.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
So the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria.
Yes.
Council of Nigeria.
Yes.
Should step in.
Okay.
One, they're a profession.
Yes.
They understand the implications. Self-regulate your membership.
Yes.
Take back your space. Secondly, work with the government to put in a regime for people how to have a controlled substance dispensing system.
Yes.
Right.
And it's simple.
And it can't just be codeine, because we're talking about codeine today.
No, it's just one of the...
Codeine is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
right.
Codeine has been with us for more than 100 years. I remember as a kid, we all drank codeine syrup.
Yes.
Because that's
Linctus codeine.
Linctus codeine.
Did you do it by yourself, or did somebody
No,
give it to you?
you understood it was Linctus codeine.
And you took a
And
teaspoonful.
APC contained,
Yes.
it was part of it was had
Yes.
codeine.
Yes.
And so it's always been there. But people were disciplined, and everybody took the direction of
the physician.
The physicians.
Yes.
Of even the pharmacists. But what is changed is now the new generation have discovered that's what is called opioid crisis in America.
And they're creating
and
their
so
own.
they're now looking for something to be high on. So it's not just codeine. We have issues with sniffing solvents.
Yes.
Glue.
Glue. Right.
Yes, that has always been there. Yes.
So
Or
apart
people
from
eating chalk or something.
that's right. So plus all the other hard drugs. Now, so when you come down to the consumers, you ask the question, why are we having this problem?
What is
where
right?
we are having them, and why are we not having them
in certain
in
places?
some
What are
other
they doing
areas?
right in some places that we could copy?
So what's going on? Because again, this is where you deploy your epidemiologists, those who study problems,
Yes.
and not beginning to
point fingers
and apportion blames. Because if I'm selling water today,
Right.
and somebody decides to come to my store, buy a case, and keep drinking the water and overdose in water,
As if that's
it's
possible.
not my problem. You
Right.
can overdose in water.
Well, you drown yourself, yes.
You can drink until you overdilute.
Yes.
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 Yeah,
There are situations to that.
And that's a very valid point you make.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it needs a global solution.
That's right.
Let us point out that if you follow drug addiction globally, a lot of times, first of all, it's an illness of young people,
Yes.
and it goes hand in hand a lot of times with hopelessness
Yes.
and lack of direction.
That's right.
So, like you were going to say, look at where it is occurring in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me point out that it is everywhere. It is across Nigeria.
Yes. It's just
In all parts of Nigeria, you have it, but
Yes.
it has reached alarming proportions in northern Nigeria.
Yes.
Kano especially.
So, if you really want to look at this scientifically, which is how it should be looked at,
Yes, it's a problem to be solved.
what are the factors that is driving it to make it such a big epidemic in northern Nigeria, more than the rest of Nigeria? And that is what you attack
Yeah. If you want to solve the problem.
if you want to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Now, we know we have more, we don't have people who solve problems in Nigeria. We have politicians who are looking for their next gig.
Okay.
We know the politicians are going to start assigning blame. Actually, I've seen some of the reports saying, well, this Igbo merchants don't start again.
Well, that's the point.
The Igbo merchants are there. They're
Yes.
trying to kill us all over here. And I that sounds familiar. That sounds like a political hit rather than somebody who's trying to solve a problem. Is it that all the pharmacies in northern Nigeria are owned by Igbo people? Do we have statistics or anything
No.
to suggest that?
But I would probably, I think if you did a census, the majority of drug sales through outlet shops will probably be by Ndigbo.
Yes.
But that is as a direct result of the fact that that's what they do.
Right.
They are the sellers in Nigeria. If you go to spare parts, don't forget drugs.
Right.
Spare parts, Ndigbo. Textile, Ndigbo. Whatever it is that people buy and sell in Nigeria, everybody knows that predominantly the merchants in Nigeria are Ndigbo.
Now, I think
so.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, my point, and just to put it, is when if somebody hears what you're saying, they say, okay, maybe these Igbo people,
these domineering people
everywhere,
yes,
we see you. But let's understand the way this happens.
Yes. Context.
Onye Igbo will arrive in Potiskum.
Yes.
With only his luggage.
And he came to visit his uncle, who has been there teaching in a federal secondary school.
Yes.
And now he has finished his first either high school or maybe university and finished with his youth corps. He's looking for a job. And so why he came up to see his uncle is to see if he can link him up anywhere in Potiskum to get a job.
Yes.
Because he's a Nigerian and he's looking to work.
Yes.
Sadly, he took the trip to Potiskum because ndị na-achị anyị achị na Igbo have not been sensitive to
his needs.
Ka ọ bụrụ na anyị zụsie ụmụaka anyị ka ha baala anyị olu by providing the kinds of jobs that the children need locally. Sure. So he takes the trip to Potiskum. Now he's visiting his uncle. Then he's driving through town and he's listening and he's asking questions. He finds out that there are very few patent medicine dealers in town which are licensed to dispense OTC drugs. The guy quickly now says, look, maybe I can feel this need.
Yes.
Because it's always inherent in the Igbo man, Igbo mpa.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's looking to solve problem. Now, the next day he opens a small shop. Before you know it, because of the need, he's now met a need. So every night, 2 times a week, at least 2 or 3 times a week, he will join the night bus, go all the way through the night to Onitsha, buy the medication, and return in the morning.
Yes.
Right, and continue to meet the needs of this community.
Yes.
Eventually, he will have apprentices. He will train 2 or 3 or 4 people, open 2 or 3 or more branches. All of a sudden, the guy is doing well. Yes. So that is the kind of person now the BBC comes to and say, no, Obu truckload. He has a truckload of drugs coming to the north.
He had it before the ban.
No. This is his normal conduct of business.
Yes.
But if there's
it's not only full of codeine syrup.
And it's not just only codeine syrup. The man had been meeting a need in that community. And so if you regulate it, and then that stops the process.
To take it a step further.
Yes.
Because that is actually just even scratching the surface.
Yes.
When the man came to Potiskum,
yes,
he probably came with a school certificate,
yes,
possibly HND,
yes,
and maybe even a university degree.
That's right.
He will write applications. There are no jobs
in Potiskum.
In Potiskum for him.
Because
not that there are no jobs in Potiskum.
Because he's
there
not
are
an
no
indigent.
There you go.
Because he's not an indigent.
In his own country, he's not an indigent.
That door is closed to him.
Yes.
The part that people don't see, when he opens a patent store, he pays rent.
That's right.
Somebody's getting rich.
Whether he makes money or doesn't make money, he's going to pay rent.
Because it's not Obranania.
Yes. He is going to have seed money to start that pharmacy.
Yes.
And maybe the first time he stocks, it is a very small desk, like they say in Lagos, Ndi bidora here, eburu yeri na akwugari na main road, before he toru inwe shop.
Yes.
These are risks you have taken with hope of future gain.
Yes.
Nobody sees you as you are taking the risks. You are coming in early, spending the whole day, going home late at night, every single day.
Yes.
Over a 4 to 5 year period, your hard labor begins to yield fruit.
Yes.
And then people begin to look at the end result without remembering what it took to get to where you are.
Yeah, and then the point is, problem is that now people start looking at you as a problem. He came here and took over,
and now he's poisoning the community.
No, he now came and took over.
Like
from who?
You drove people out.
What
exactly?
He didn't ask anybody to close any of their stores.
Yes.
He didn't ask anybody not to open any store.
Yes.
And if you actually maybe look a little closer, you find some of the so-called indigents, his fellow brothers and sisters in the community, that he has hired to work with him and be paying them money, salaries. So he's now an employer.
That's the point.
In that community. He's added value to the community. So now, if there are situations like this, where you want things have not been done right, then let the government deal with anybody who breaks the law. But don't make it look like to scandalize or demonize a certain group of people and say, oh, they are pumping codeine to the north. Go to the east and see the amount of codeine that is there, and ask yourself the question: why is their youth not abusing it as much as is abusing in your community?
That is the point, because for every single drug store in northern Nigeria, I'm sure there are 3 in the south.
That's right.
So if it was an issue of easy availability, perhaps you would have it more in. But that's the point of having a scientific study.
Yes.
Epidemiology. It is not new. We live in the 21st century.
That's right.
These are not new concepts.
Yeah.
So I can understand, mischievous journalism, because that is what I look at that BBC report.
Yeah.
It was a mischievous, and if I personally were Emzor Pharmacy, I would sue BBC.
Right. Yes.
I would sue BBC because that
defamation.
Yes, that is a very mischievous report.
Yeah.
So you take a problem, instead of helping find solutions, you are demonizing a people. But then the British have never had the interest of Ndigbo in Nigeria at heart. And let me be the first to say it here. The British onu ma ihe ndị Igbo mere unu, because
that's right. No, you're not. In fact, that's what was one of the initial conversation, that the challenges that the former English-speaking part of Cameroon is having.
Yes,
is part of what again was done by the British, that sold to them and their leaders the idea that they should move from the eastern region because Nandibo are not Africa. So it's always, so if there's any problem in Nigeria, the first thing the British will try to do is to make it an Igbo problem.
Yeah.
That the Igbo Abekwa. So then, because they know that once they point hands at us, we'll become the target, then diverting our attention to the nefarious acts and all the parasitical things for them in Nigeria. Because so long as the Igbo is engaged as the problem,
so long as
the enemy
some
from
part
the
of the populace is focused on somebody else,
yes,
and is focused on something else,
the one from the outside
is disintegrating and disorganized, then the business goes on as usual.
That's right. Yes.
But as an invested person of Nigerian origin, at least originally, I am interested in solving the problem of the opioid crisis. Now, if we are advising the Kano state government and the locals around there, we know that doing the regulation and having the organization and the professional organizations to organize themselves and get to that will take longer. What do you do in the immediate future, tomorrow? How can you start solving this problem? Because what they are doing now is they're going around and arresting kids that are under the influence, putting them in chains, and forcing them to detox. And then
cold talking.
That is terrible.
It's inhumane.
That is inhumane.
Where is the Commissioner of Health? Where is the board of the head of the board of Commissioner for Board of Health?
I saw that video and I cringed.
Where is the governor?
Have you
Don't
seen?
they have doctors?
Have you seen people that have gone under
and
withdrawal?
And
opioid withdrawal
with them shaking and all those things.
That is inhumane.
In chains.
In 2018.
In chains.
Okay? And you have, if you go to Kano International Airport, go and count the number of private jets that are parked there.
That's right.
And then you take these children. I tell you, sometimes the things you see in that country make you want to just throw up.
No, onye Bolia Zoo, I don't want too far from the truth. Because when mother mevel ka animal, you see, because
you oh gosh.
You see, there's a young physician that has been saddled with this epidemic. And don't tell me that this young man have not been crying out for help. So the children are not criminals, they are addicted.
They're addicts.
They have a problem. They need to be taken care of. You have welfare people, social workers should be around them. The entire community should be around them, not protesting, our children are taking this. Make awareness campaign is okay. But the ones that already have the problem have to. And there are best practices.
Yes.
And the best practices are as easy as finding, as Googling treatment of opioid addiction.
Opioid withdrawal.
Opioid withdrawal.
Yes.
What do you do?
Yes, management of opioid withdrawal.
And all you need to do is take one wing of your hospital and begin to ask the medications that need to be used.
Yes,
are there.
They are there.
Thankfully, we have them available. The government can fly them in.
What do you mean? They are right there in the same shop that you're accusing.
Then the Emir of Kano, Sanusi, the know-it-all man.
He's a well-learned man. He should show the wisdom.
No, he knows everything. He knows how to solve every problem in Nigeria. He can. I don't know why this is happening under his watch, and he has not provided any 21st century solution,
guidance,
and leadership. But the point is, supposedly Kano is the largest local government in the whole entire country, receives the largest subvention from the government.
And you allow these young people to be put through.
Now, again, that goes back to the conversations we've had.
What's the intent and the motivation? Are people really trying to solve this problem?
No, they're not. Because they like to, you see, first of all, why did it have to take the BBC to put it out there for them to now start jumping on?
It's not something that started.
They knew
this
was going on. Yeah. The government of so first of all, if they do the right investigation, people are going to be fired up the chain.
It's a failure of government.
It's the failure of the government. Again, it's the failure of leadership within that space, at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level.
Where's your Minister of Health?
So now,
commissioner for it to start
first of all,
because minister is at the center.
The minister should be deploying some of the people at the CDC, at the Nigerian Center for Disease Studies.
Why I was saying that is in the U.S. I know that before the center gets involved, the federal government will have to do some proclamation. So we have an epidemic problem in the U.S., an opioid epidemic problem in the U.S. President Donald Trump called it actually classified it as a national emergency, and once he did that, then that proclamation afforded some government involvement.
So it was a choice. That word, national emergency, has a definition within public health,
and that releases funds
within public health. So the question is, what has the Nigerian government public health departments put in place to deal with epidemics and emergencies like this? So they should deploy those tools. And to be honest with you, if you go to the Kano Health Department, the Department of Health in the Kano State, you will see very highly educated, well-qualified people who have trained, some of them in some of the best public health schools. So you ask the question, what did they do with all that paper where then they accumulate? Is that you get a certificate, you get more salary and more position?
Yeah, right.
what problem have you solved? This is a problem that you need now to tackle and actually display your know. This is up your
skills.
Yes, why? But you see, that is not the Nigerian way.
But let me point out that one of the major reasons why the Ebola crisis, not Ebola, Ebola, yes.
That one guy left.
Why it could be contained very easily.
Why it was contained very easily
in Nigeria,
yes,
was that there were epidemiologists that were working on meningococcal meningitis
and
polio in northern Nigeria.
Yes.
And as soon as this broke, they immediately used the well-defined epidemiologic methodology,
yes,
to contain,
yes,
and identify, contain, and isolate.
Yes.
And also the thing about Ebola that actually blew my mind was the speed that they released the information and the education of the public, how they did that so efficiently.
Because of people on the ground that were not part of the Nigerian system.
Yes. So the world,
left alone to Nigeria, we would be just like, in fact, we would be Liberia times 10.
Yes. So what he was alluding
and they were able to trace it.
No, what he was alluding to is prior, and that was the blessing.
Yes. So yes.
On the ground, there were already Nigerians and
expatriate
NGOs,
yes,
funded through Rotary,
yes,
and Bill Gates Foundation to deal with the polio epidemic, and so they wanted to contain the polio because in the north polio was still endemic.
Yes.
So when this happened, they used the same epidemiological tools, deployed it, and then it was easy contain. And then because of the global attention that was paid,
yes,
the government gave them the free hand, and of course the US moved in with CDC, giving some playing some advisory role, and then the local physicians and local public health workers did their job.
So are we waiting
at
for
this time,
NGOs
can we give a shout out to the doctor, infectious disease doctor, at that First Consultants Hospital, in Lagos, that ended up dying. The lady that identified the heroine. Yes, because see, these are things that don't make the news. Yeah, she played a very big part in ensuring that Ebola was contained promptly.
Yes. Yeah.
Buying enough time for the structure. I gave up her own life.
Yeah.
I do not see her mentioned anymore. She has gone part of the footnote of history of Nigeria.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So we need heroes. We don't want you to give up your life, but we need heroes in this story with the opioid crisis. We need people who are interested in solving this problem because it may be in Kano today. If not contained, it will be all over Nigeria. Yes. It is an epidemic. It may just be in one, a little bit contained within a locality today, but the faster we solve it, and solving it is not banning the drug that is needed, we recommend following procedures that are all over the place with professions regulating themselves and government following up and policing their regulations.
Look at the fallacy of banning.
Yes.
You ban it, do you ask everybody now, and they don't know who has what. So all the stocks, inventory,
you don't know
are still all packed up.
Well, that's the point.
Yes. So it's still in somebody's store, and you're
it's still in somebody's warehouse. You don't know who brought what.
He probably don't know what you banned.
That's right. So you banned it. No, you banned it. So the distribution, but that doesn't solve because the stockpile is still in the country. So what you do is you can't be doing one thing at a time.
Right.
Like the NAFDAC director said, that she likes what the government did. Let's first ban it, then we'll figure out what to do. She wasn't. My God, professor of pharmacy. And you're talking like that?
Trained because they should take back their degree.
No. She's well educated, but the point is that there's this thinking, this soldier thinking, military thinking, that takes away your intellectual capacity. People who know. That same lady, if you put her in WHO,
she will shine.
Blossom. She will be the best technocrat the world has ever seen.
Because the biggest problem is.
But once you are in Nigeria, they don't build. You start acting. You start acting stupid.
Yes, because the biggest problem we have in Nigeria is that nobody takes responsibility.
And nobody.
If you were the head and they call you and say, this thing needs to go away, your job is on the line.
Yes.
Then maybe you would stop all this playing to the gallery.
That's right.
Sit down and try to design an effective strategy to stop things like this.
Yes.
To tell it, let's go back again. That, here you are, you see some of these allergies in northern Nigeria. They come out and are making that irresponsible statement. Ah, yes, the Igbos are poisoning you with codeine. The Igbos this, the Igbos that. Does it not bother you to see? Do you understand the concept of having people in shackles, black men in shackles, which of course BBC was very happy to come and show you. I don't know if that significance is lost on them.
Yes.
These are your children. Where is your sense of compassion? You go and point a finger and create mayhem so that brother will kill brother. You have not solved the problem.
Yeah.
You have not come out to say, let us help the people who are in. She says, if you look at that story, one of them was a teenage girl.
Yes.
In the Muslim north, that you value the privacy of your women. Now she is shackled in a public.
No, that girl's story touched me because I kind of like, all of a sudden, it looked to me that I understood her issue.
Yes.
She's a product of child marriage. You could almost sense that. A teenager at 16, distraught, trying to bury her pain. That's why she's drinking codeine.
Whatever the reason is, I think we've said it, and I want to restate it again, which is there are many facets to solving this problem. One is figuring out what's the atmosphere that's creating this. Why are the young people turning to something?
Yes.
Why are they being addicted? What's causing the addiction? But also, the product needs to be regulated like it is in many other
parts
countries.
of the world.
And it's needed because some people actually need that drug to make them well. So let's make sure that the prescription process is followed and enforced.
Yes, and there are a different kind of cough suppressant, different chemical that is not addictive.
That is over the counter.
That could
be
substituted. So you request that henceforth, in the next 6 months, we will no longer be producing so and so. It happened in the US. Before, for you to get, it used to be pseudoephedrine.
Yes, it's now off the table.
So when people started using it to do speed, then they banned it. So if you
moved it off the
and you cannot get more than a certain number of bottles.
Well, that's the point I was going to make, because if you make a statement and send it out to all the pharmaceutical pharmacy shops and whatever, okay, and if even a letter saying that this has become a big problem, please ensure that nobody gets beyond a certain amount at a time.
Yes.
Have you even tried to recruit them to help you solve this problem? Instead of trying
to edit,
well, that's the point.
That has no bearing on what's on the ground.
It is in their best interest that their community be healthy.
Yes.
They sell to the community. If everybody dies, there's nobody to sell to. So the reality is everybody is in this together.
Yeah.
Did anybody even try to say we have a problem?
Yes.
Let us all come together and solve. But you see, that's not the Nigerian way.
No, the leadership is not there. What you're talking about is when you have leaders who know how to lead, not those who know how to issue decree.
Yeah.
So, talking about leaders who know how to lead, the name of that doctor is Dr. Ameyo Stella Adadevo.
Adadevo, yes.
She was the heroine of the Ebola story.
Yes.
And she actually did resist government pressure to make sure that the right things were followed.
Yes.
And contracted the disease and lost her life. So, may have so continue to rest in peace.
But
also, we're saying that there needs to be a memorial something that remembers her effort, and I'll find out if there's a trust somewhere, and we'll publish it on our page for people who are interested, because those kind of heroines we need to put up those examples so that people could aspire to it.
Yeah.
So you've been listening to Straight Talk Radio on WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. And we've been discussing the epidemic, the opioid epidemic in Nigeria, especially in the northern part of the country in Kano State, as was reported by BBC on their investigative reporting. So
before you leave the topic, I just want to use this opportunity to say to my people, Ndibo, first, in the next campaign, do not accept any politician that comes to you promising that they will build this hospital, build this clinic, build this, build that.
If they haven't done it before.
No. The point is, what we're just discussing with the Codeine epidemic is a failure of the public health system.
Yes.
Now, public health,
it is not building.
It's not building a hospital.
Thank you.
It is public health, meaning the street is clean, the
mosquito control, so that you cut down on malaria, immunization,
and then when issues like this come up, we have people trained who know how to tackle it. So, today it's codeine, tomorrow it might be Ebola, tomorrow it might be Lassa fever, it might be yellow fever. If we do not have the public health system, a robust public health system that is ensuring clean water,
potable water,
good sanitary condition,
drainage,
mosquito abatement, we can build all the hospitals in Igbo land, and we will not be able to have people healthy.
This is on the assumption.
Let me help you with that.
Okay.
Because the current governor of Imo State,
you're talking
okay. Yes. Maybe we'll address that.
Let's keep going.
The current governor of Imo State,
my good
built a comprehensive health center in every single local government in Imo State. Today, 100% of those buildings are now luxury hotels for lizards and rats. Not a single one of them is
operational.
So a monumental waste of money.
So if we needed proof that public health is not building,
So meanwhile, there is no place. There are very few places in Imo State that you can turn the faucet
and get and have
water. Public works. I'm not talking about borehole, because when we were growing up, at least if it's not in your compound,
it's down the road.
Or public tap down the road.
Or if you happen to live in the rural areas, then you could go down to the stream, which these days do not exist because we've used buildings to reroute the waters.
Well, yes. So my point is, Bikonu.
Yes.
The era of I will build a teaching hospital is over.
Well,
there are enough private money to build hospitals.
Yes.
I will build this. I will be. What we want you to first do is guarantee that every child
maintain what's on the ground.
There's potable water, pipe-borne water, public, not borehole. We should stop spending our money digging boreholes, and actually maybe soon we'll start having earthquakes all over Anibo because everybody's draining the underwater.
Those boreholes are coming, right? Because you dig one in your compound.
Yeah.
Your neighbor, who's about 50
meters away,
50 feet lower,
yeah,
and actually closer to the stream where the water is coming from, digs another one over there. The person next, who's about 50 meters closer and farther away, will dig. Eventually, the guy at the very top will get water.
Yes.
And everybody else will.
Everybody else will have to wait because until he finishes getting his water.
No, but also the fact is we don't know what the impact it has when draining off all the underground water and creating
sinking.
But you see the effect of fracking.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is a topic that we'll probably take on another time because it's got a whole lot of things. There is government has a major role to play, no doubt. But if you're waiting for the government and the water you have in your house is all open, all dirty, and mosquito is breeding on it, and you're waiting for government to come fix that, you're wasting your time. There are some things that you could do today to safeguard what you have. I totally understand and buy, and actually is encouraging that you pay attention to what the politicians are selling you. But there are things that we have to get ready ourselves, so that if you're in that mindset, then you're looking for somebody who's going to continue that work.
I hear you, Mazi Okichu.
Yes.
But this is the challenge.
Yes.
A lot of that education
Yes.
is also part of the role of government.
Yes.
Because people don't know this. It used to be when we were growing up in our communities, people in the village, you know who is going to sweep the armor.
Oh, yes.
We used to sweep our streets.
Yes, yes. And the village square
armor is swept. The Afia is swept.
Yes.
The Mili is swept. The Uzo is swept.
And I call before Idiawa came and started making every Saturday operation cleanup.
We cleaned our streets in the village.
Yes.
People knew where to go, Nama, and how to do Mposi.
Yeah, well,
so if the man goes out, he knows where to go. He's not dropping his excreta all over the place. Now everybody knows where the refuge goes, Nambubo.
Yes.
And it's all composted because it's
Yes.
going to be used as manure
Yes.
for the next farming season.
Yes.
Then when you come to the stream, people know where you fetch drinking water
And where you
wash
washing
and
Yes.
bathing.
Yes.
So those were built into, because we were environmentalists before being an environmentalist. It became
a thing. Yes.
Anything.
Yes.
Because he would believe na ndu mmiri, ndu azụ,
Yes.
ndu ọfịa, ndu nnụnụ,
Ndu ala, ndu ji.
ndu ji. So we saw its interconnectedness. And the land was sacred.
That all the way for
the land was sacred.
Civilized education.
The land was sacred.
Yes.
So that was also part of that whole keeping the earth healthy movement. But again, that is something that the government, since
the government replaced the traditional system, they haven't picked up.
So I'm going to say something that is going to maybe be a little controversial.
Okay.
Ndị Igbo tiri ilu si, like you said, ọwụghị onye ji ego na onye aka shiri ike kwa nne na ọwụ dị ọkpara agbụrụ.
Yes.
Eneke ntị ọba asị na ebe unu mụtara ịgba atụ ka ọ mụta ife ebe.
Yes.
It is when your circumstances change, you rise to the challenge of your circumstances.
Yes.
So right now, I am talking to the youth.
Yes.
I'm talking to you, the youth.
Lazy,
and when I say, lazy Nigerian youth.
Yes.
No, between the ages of maybe 17 and 30. Let me just use that broad range.
Yes.
Unu na-eche mgbe obodo ga-adị mma, unu nwere ike ịka nka ebe a na-eche. There are simple things you can do to help your society around you that do not necessarily have to depend on government.
Yes.
The first thing you need to do, walk away from this narrative na nwanne gị na-egbu in the spirit or in the other realm.
Nobody's
Nobody's
Nobody's doing that.
Absolutely. Growing up in Nigeria, we had age grade.
Yes.
We had age grade.
Yes.
You hang out with your age grade, and there was a reason for that. Makano ebiri bakota. Anyo momri ahụ ga-agba oke ụfụfụ.
Yes.
Don't wait for your chief who is a 419er to kesi azama.
Oh, you will take your 5,000.
Yes. Bidonumewe. Things you know should be done.
Take care.
Ndima kuzieri ibe ha. Bidonumewe. Ono go to your village. Keep your villages clean.
Yes.
you can make proposals. See, okay, see, I'm using sheba.
Yes.
Mother choosile medieba. Mother mezile nke eba. Ono with the youth. Ono wobodo. Oro na ndi okenye. Ase akwazi ebudo nkata nichi agwo okenye ezioku.
Yes.
Don't wait for us. We have failed. So take your destiny in your own hands. Ndi no na township. I promise you, hire a tipper. Pota kenu flyer. Gwa people on a division. Ono nile no in this division. Every Saturday I ga bia doti. Puputan doti ke doti. We are asking all of you to ono 10 naira. By the time a whole division got to 10 naira, oge ezu ego nu ji hire tipper. Ku ụgwọ ndị na-ekpo doti. Ma ya wuruzie ebe a ga-awufu the doti.
And be ready for the government, because they will have their thugs waiting for you to try to take away your money.
And when they come after you, unebuso haga. Because anaghị enwe obodo enwe. Anaghị enwe obodo enwe. No, it is time we became proactive.
Yes, you know? You're so right. I like what you say, because in a democracy, self-help,
yes,
it's allowed.
Yes,
and entrepreneurship is encouraged. So onye bobambo.
Yes,
that's Igbo.
Yes, Ibobambo. But you see, but I hear what Mazi Obas is saying, but also I hear the other retorts from the youth.
Yes,
the government. So keke.
Yes.
So then they started regulating it.
Yes.
Then at some point,
yes.
Yes. Then the next thing I extort to ego from them, because all from ego to extortion. Because that is usually the character of the government,
of leadership
in Nigeria.
Pretend leadership.
Yes. So but part of what they need to do is, in that space, is to now go okipe tien aside. Unu na-eme ona agba akwụkwọ.
You need a labor union kind of.
No.
But that's organizing.
Organizing. That's
the point.
If I organize.
Within that age grade,
yes,
you could get it from the government by making sure they're doing the right things and leaving you.
No, onye agba akwụkwọ government akwụkwọ ụgwọ.
Imana, using a very silly example. For those of you toro n'Enugu in those days, na no mukol camp pota. Ato ego.
Yes.
Onye atota toro, onye atota sisi, onye nkiji. Agbado ogbete, go ogene. Go you know, all the paraphernalia, yes. A go mount, a go mount, Christmas. By the time you border cold camp, border sata, back to base.
Yes.
All of your expenses will profit.
Will change.
Oh, yeah, entrepreneurship.
What if also?
Entrepreneurship. And the whole of the Nigerian space is wide open for you.
Yes.
The lazy. So what do you have to lose?
Well, Kangwande on the east. If you go to Lagos, there are some expatriates in Anata. Andela is one of them. It's a U.S. company, not a Nigeria. It's doing very well.
Okay.
There are a few more that are taking that. I mean, the delivery ones. I know a few of them. I know a few of them. Well, in Sobu recently.
Yes.
Actually, while I'm doing that, I'll branch off a little bit. A lot of these companies were started during the Yaradua Jonathan era.
Okay.
The difficulties they're having now has a lot to do with the shape
present,
of Nigeria, the economy,
yes,
and the policy,
the dollars, the policy. But what I'm saying is, hang in there. Things are going to change. But why I'm mentioning these, well, these are started by people who were from outside or who went outside and looked into Nigeria and saw all the opportunities,
all the need,
and got to where they could start in the urban place. This set up enough for them to start thriving. When I go into the hinterlands, when I go east, I see so many opportunities. In Sobumwewo, I can only live in one place at the same time. And I'm rooted here with my family and my... So, Oga to drive all the way from here, fly all the way, and try to... I mean, but I know you see the same things. You are waiting and thinking that the manna will fall from heaven. this is the time for you to start. What I did when I was in Enugu, what we used to do, that's now a very high antenna with satellite dish.
Yes.
That no WrestleMania. You could actually take a hanger, throw it across the fence, connect to their satellite, run the line from the hanger to the living room, watch WrestleMania in clear pictures in the living room. So we went from watching WrestleManias in clean to saving it on VHS tape, so that WrestleMania, I'm confessing to something criminal.
Yes.
But in WrestleMania Messi this afternoon, within 2 hours, OG Messi, we are right at Ogui Road selling
WrestleMania tapes.
Actually, making a copy for free from a video store, making about 4 copies, and leaving a copy with the guy. By evening, I've covered the cost of my tape, and actually at another store, making copies and leaving a copy with that guy. Yes, I was young, and but I had the entrepreneurial dream. I saved up, hundreds of naira. Before I left, actually, when I left,
you gave up the big business.
Somebody had to go close it for me, but it was something. Nobody told me to go do this. It's just you saw an opportunity. I'm not illegal, so I'm not ignorant.
Well, are they illegal or they illegal? Government not obodo kedaka hanyeregi.
Nothing. But if you wait for the government, you will never thrive.
But that's the point we're making here. There are a lot of things. There are a lot of things.
Why is your point out? Do better than I did. Don't do something illegal, right? But there are opportunities beyond that.
Yes, that are viable.
That you shouldn't wait.
Economically viable. Yes,
and
Oka izuoshima.
Yes.
Oka izuoshima. Iburebe. Invariably, the people that whatever you're doing, it is you are stealing from poor people around you.
And there's no place is justifiable.
And we need to start getting
but
back
you see,
to what
what
works.
is confusing to a lot of our young people is what they have been socialized to believe, that good governance will deliver the green that they are hoping for. So each year they are hopeful that Nikenonya will be.
Yes.
It will be this person. Maybe this is the year. Yes. Maybe this is the time.
Yes.
Maybe
they are waiting for a savior, the man on a white horse.
That's right. So, but that is not altogether correct. Yes,
it's
government.
Never correct.
What the government does is crucial. That it will set the right environment.
But the government is not a person.
For the people to prosper. So the attitude that I want them to adopt now, and what I think they should be looking for, is to put their issue on the ballot.
Yes.
That is, anybody that comes to ask for the vote in your community will be asked the critical question: can do if they get to create the environment?
Don't wait till a few days before
the environment for me to do what fulfill my potential. Part of which, abrisi ni aga luzo.
Right.
Money aga emenka.
Yes.
Money aga emenka.
Mazio Deluga.
Yes.
The everybody who is now in office is either going to run again in 2019 or has a protege.
Yes.
Somebody
that they are pushing. So, our Maduguregu say, what have you done for me lately? Ibina State.
Oh, Janet.
Leo no abino were. Mirizo uzana hagazi aga. Ama hebe wolulu ama mado le nwurula na mmiri nezo.
Mado neka flood.
Yet a lot of you, especially the older ones, moto weredi mgbe mbakwechere. Chicha rukwe up to now. Mado potechi ya sigi tore ya vote. Elehi na tore ya vote ko megini.
Say tore ya vote or to tell you that ni nepa ya na north. No nya tinyela nna. Tinye nwa. Tinye nwunye. Obulu nna.
Oh, I was thinking George Bush. Oh, yes.
Nna, na nwa, na nwa.
So anyway, so now even early na to
yes
nuche kine kwifa if gbata nuche. What came to mind is that the first order for the youth is chikoli feni nenokita.
Where absolutely.
That will send a message.
No,
that will send.
If they don't do it, that means the youth is crazy, because the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. Yeah. If you want what you have, go ahead, do what you're doing.
Yeah. So if you're able to clear the deck, you send a notice to the polity. Nuna Brozi talks to be used, because what happens is they underdevelop the region. There are a lot of young people who are unemployed. Then during the political campaign, only emergency all. A new T-shirt, a blue, two or three meals. Ike I we ke tie kwa shisha ni asilta itasizia anyane nwonyo va una po akebuli be mmadu. At the end of it, the man goes in,
he dumps you.
And then you're left.
Police in a prison.
So, like we've said,
you end up in Ezu River.
Like we said, you become a responsible voter. Take the issue serious. Either commit to put yourself in the ballot to be voted for, or somebody you know who you will hold accountable and who has your interest. He doesn't necessarily have to have all the money, but has the ideas and the discipline and the character to deliver. Unetinye n'ọkwa onye afọ emerite ekwu ogarita ọzọ ewegha ya mgbe emeli agbolo ibu amo ito, everybody will understand that no condition is permanent. Then what will they do? They will go in there to make sure that they execute and produce results if they want to come back. So if you're able to sack 2 or 3 or 4 people, you see, what has happened is the parties guarantee them through rigging and misuse of the voters and the electorate guarantees them perpetuity. But about a court, a bribe by judges, if that whole thing has to stop, the people must speak and speak loudly. Yes.
As the year progresses, we are going to have several discussions about elections. How to protect your mandate. Kedu ki ga-esi owo so iga binyaka no ibinyaka edishona aki binyere agụrụ ya and onye na-ebinye ha aka agụhụ nke. So we shall talk about those things. Makana, if you are not able to do those things, obodaga ha dema. And I don't care whether me under Nigeria, under a restructured Nigeria, under zones, under Biafra. Yes.
Isi se bunti bu vote. Amaka esi na chikwa. It is still the power for the Igbo belongs to the people.
Yes.
O nya enyelia ojide omaruji ayanalpia. And that is something that we have to perfect, a system of that delegation of power, that bonki Igbo. If you don't know how to use it, we'll take it. They will take it back. Because and that is one thing that is unique about the Igbo. We don't have permanent leaders who always show up to lead at all times. At different seasons.
Division of labor.
DG.
Dimba. Wrestling.
Dinta. What they would dimba. Jokes aside, yes, I absolutely agree with you. We have never been a people so orwele mgbe anyị ga-ebido apịa aka pịta gị bụ na ewo mmadụ gị gara Igbo oji.
Yes.
And I diga gị oji gị go oji ka onye na-agara mmadụ oji.
That's right.
Ọwụhụ gị wu unu dum.
Anyị niile.
That is
ọka unura.
Well, this conversation is becoming as interesting as it usually is, but unfortunately, time is not on our side. So we would like to conclude, but there's so much more conversation to be had. So leave us your comments on Facebook. Send us email at straighttalkradio@igboheritage.org. We will be glad to read from you and hear from you. Let us know what your thoughts are. We'd like to learn from you also. And as we're closing, Mazio Delga, any final thoughts?
Igbo sananya, teta nola, kaidozi obodai.
Mazio Bas.
Kaaban came with actually for the whole of Nigeria. We can either learn to coexist peacefully, or onye feel no na mmadụ wu nsogbu ye una akpọ okwu ahapụrụ n'obodo.
Well, being in the Kaibili, Obasinta, I in charge of catch your phone.
Catch your phone.
Okay.
You're listening to WGHC 98.3 FM.
But we are nothing friend from see the first time. Touch us instant. Boy, you get anything you like. Long as you are right, then me alright.